Welcome back once again. It's time for tea. Tea at 3 is what we call it. And you might have noticed that my hair's growing a little at the moment. We might as well be personal since this is quite a personal chat time. And my hair is growing because that's what hair does. And what one normally does is find a barber. But finding a barber that can cut one's hair at a distance of 6 feet is a little bit tricky. I don't know whether any of you have got any ideas for me, but I'd be happy if you'd like to get to me and let me know what a 6 foot long pair of scissors looks like. Or maybe it's one of those hedge trimmers, for trees. Anyway, so I've got an idea today about how to spend some time at home. And if indeed we are at home, and we're fortunate enough to have a home and that we can shut the door and we can have food on the table and we have family to feed or just ourselves to feed, it doesn't much matter because cooking is something that we may have recently not had so much time for. And I know my life has got very busy and I was trying to find quicker and quicker ways of getting good, nutritious food on my table. I'm on my own now. My wife, Trina, has gone ahead of me, and so I feed myself. And to some degree, that can be sort of, I like certain things very well, so I do them very often. But then there is that time that I do want to experiment, and I do still experiment. So I was thinking about that for you. There is available at the present moment on Amazon Prime, if you have Amazon Prime, that system where you get deliveries at no charge. And that actually works out very well if you're doing a lot more shopping nowadays when you could do it on Amazon. So I'm not paid by Amazon to tell you that. I am just telling you that there is a very small royalty which comes to me if you watch one of my old program series, which is available on Amazon Prime. It's called Graham Kerr's Kitchen. I actually wrote a book about it, and this is the book here that I wrote. And every single recipe in this book is actually in the TV series, 52 episodes altogether. And it's a particular kind of idea. And the idea was, let's look at how you make a casserole and how you boil water, virtually almost how you boil water. It goes right to the methodology of making sauces and making pastry for a pie and making a cake. And in every case, trying to look to see whether the risk factors which are built into the standard classical way of handling food could be reduced a little bit by cutting out some of the saturated fat and some of the refined carbohydrates like sugars and things of that nature, to see what can be done to make something which really tastes great, which is fun to make, at the same time as reducing the risk factor. I call it mini-max at one stage for minimum risk and maximum flavor. So this is several years of my life that I put to this use because my wife Trina had a stroke and a heart attack and she had diabetes and hypertension. So because of that, I sought out some of the finest scientists in the world at that stage because I could get to them because I was on the media and could give them some media time. And so in return, they gave me wonderful advice and actually became very good friends over time, really good friends. So I was able to put this to work. And I must say that each episode, I look at a drafting board right up front before I start the program and say what I'm going to try and achieve by making some changes. And then spend a good deal of time explaining what the change actually is so that you get it. And then putting ingredients into that changed method into an attractive dish that you might enjoy, and then giving a second dish about showing how you could apply the same idea. So that's what I do. And oh, by the way, just when I leave the drafting board and go into the kitchen, I always wash my hands. I was very keen on doing that in those days, just because of home food safety. And after the virus thing is all gone, it's still a marvelous thing. Before you prepare food, get your hands into food. It's a great idea to properly wash your hands. I think something that we're going to learn during this time. So my idea was that perhaps, because you've got a little more time, because there may be family there, that you have got an audience and therefore can cook something different for them. Maybe they could sit and watch the program at the same time with you and say, now that chicken dish that he does on the first episode, that sounds like something I'd like to eat. Well, there's 52 of those episodes altogether. So there could be, during this time in which we're in closed circumstances, it could be that we could fill the aroma of that little kitchen and place where you live with something delicious and different, and that would be health giving, given the long term when we get over the virus thing and we're on to our regular life again, that regular life may have the opportunity for a few changes here and there. And one of them could be the idea of trying something different. Instead of having somebody else make it for you, making it for yourself. It's just a thought, okay? And by the way, just one quick thing. I am living on my own now, and so I don't get to hug anybody, and I get to hug them from a distance. I do this. So when I sit down for my meal, I'm always, for years now, have always said grace. I've always been thankful. And I've been so amazingly thankful nowadays. We're getting to see people just like us, but living in very far distant countries who maybe millions of them don't have a place to live. They have no running water and soap to use. And I personally can't do too much about that. I do something, but it's so small. So what I feel I can do when I bow my head is I bow my head to be grateful. I am so grateful to have this facility I have here to live in. I'm so grateful to have food that I can prepare for myself at the table. I'm so grateful for so many things. It's just wonderful to say thank you at the table. Just a thought. Till next time, God bless.